For better or for worse, Marvel Studios tried to give us some closure with the character of the Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame, but with that, it's just further fueled speculation that the character will be back. It didn't happen in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but people were quick to point out that there's definitely some connections with what the character said in his first MCU film. And now the head writer of the series addresses that exact scenario and situation. Marvel Studios head writer for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Malcolm Spellman, recently talked about the idea of the Flag Smashers, what their point was, what they were trying to do, and why maybe, despite the fact that their end goal was noble, they took a insane turn and just became villains, mainly due to their leader. Now, at the same time, something that was brought up was the line from Red Skull that goes all the way back to Captain America, the first Avenger, in which Red Skull says that he's seen the future and that there are no flags. And they were asking him if this was deliberate in the way that they represented the Flag Smashers. Somebody that doesn't want flags or borders, somebody that sort of follows in the footsteps of what the Red Skull was saying. And he said that that wasn't the original intent at all, but it's just something that sort of happened to fall into place. And I'm honestly going to believe him 100%. I don't think there's anything there. I mean, what Red Skull was saying was sort of a broad prediction of the future, like one world united, no flags. I mean, that's exactly what Star Trek does, right? And they predicted that, and they said, oh, that's what's going to happen in the future, and they're like, well, there's going to be wars before that and all that. It's just a broad statement and a prediction that tons of people have made. He said it to Steve because of, the way he was talking to him, the time, where they were, and the way Steve Rogers was representing America, and what he was insinuating is going to happen, and how the world will never accept America and this spangled man and all that, right? So he was coming at it from a villainous angle, and what he was saying doesn't necessarily match up with the ideology of the Flag Smashers, but the Flag Smashers having that sort of same idea is something that's very prevalent through much of science fiction. I mean, go back to some of the greatest writings of science fiction, from like Isaac Asimov, for example. I mean, it's there, right? So it's one of these things that maybe you could connect the dots, and maybe somewhere down the road in like Captain America 4, Red Skull is back and he's like, oh yes, those Flag Smashers, they did exactly what I said they would, because, spoiler alert, my daughter Sin was behind it all. That could work, right? But for right now, it wasn't intentional. Could they go back and retcon it to be intentional? Sure. But for right now, don't dig deeper than you have to.